All right, guys, welcome back to Mr. Post Frame. Today we're talking storm shelters, specifically Ironclad Shelter Solutions has an awesome DIY friendly, customizable storm shelter that can also double as a gun safe or a safe room. Here in Iowa, over the last few years, we have been getting hit hard with tornadoes, having several small towns being completely wiped out. As you can expect, storm shelters are a huge deal here, and if you think about the U.S., 75% of tornadoes in the entire world happen right here in the U.S., so these are a great solution for your Barndominium or whatever style home you want, because these can be put in your garage, they can be put in your basement, they can be put in a closet. We can actually customize these into our building plans, but let's go ahead and check these things out. I got Zane and Zane here, father and son. Owner of the company, son. We're gonna put this thing together. How long do you think it's gonna take us?
2.5 hours.
And what is the size?
4 foot by 6 foot. That's inside.
Okay, and that's your standard?
Yes, that's our best-selling shelter.
All right, and the question I know will get answered, is this certified to handle certain size storm?
An EF5.
All right.
Yes.
All right, so it comes on this pallet, which that's how it's gonna arrive at your house. And the awesome thing about this is you probably, how much does the door do you think weigh?
So the door weighs 300 pounds. That's the trickiest part. Yes. Yep.
Okay.
The side panels, they're 83, 84 pounds.
Okay.
So
we could easily, I wouldn't say easily, but like the door would be the hardest part to get into a basement.
It is, yes.
Basement.
Yep.
Okay.
And we use a 2-wheel cart for that. We strap it on a 2-wheel dolly and take it down the steps that way.
From my understanding, from what you've shown me, is the ease of this thing that goes together is all the bolts are on the inside, correct?
Yes.
So they're easily accessible?
Yep. No access around the outside at all, so you can put it in tight spaces, and you're also never trapped in it because you could literally take it apart from the inside.
Just got to keep a couple wrenches in there?
That's right.
All right.
Yep. So when it arrives, it'll have all of the bolts, all the nuts, anchors, everything necessary to complete the task of install will come with it.
So from what I can see, it's basically made up of 4 corners, panels, and a door.
That's it, yes.
That's it.
So we just take these corner panels, we just set them off to the side, and we just grab them as we need them. Again, the heaviest part of this shelter is the door. It's also on the top, so we have to take it apart or lift it off, and we set it aside.
Okay.
When you get this, oftentimes the handle will be closed, and you'll know it's closed because it'll be behind the handle. So you open it up, and that way you can lift the frame off the door.
Oh, okay.
Because the frame is another 200 pounds, so that helps to lighten it up a lot. So then you're able to just lift it off.
Okay.
And we'll just lean it up against the wall over here. And
My end up?
Yes.
Is this a 2-man or 3-man job?
It's a 2-man.
Okay.
Yep. And basically when we lift this off, we take the bottom of it, set the bottom on the floor, and strap it to the 2-wheel cart.
You got it?
We put a blanket on it just to protect the finish so it doesn't get scratched up.
Yeah, what is the finish on this? It's pretty nice. It's almost like a gun safe.
This is a powder coated finish, and it's also powder coat primed as well. It's an interior exterior finish. So we just use a basic ratchet strap to hold this in place, and we just roll it off to the side for now. Now on your pallet, what you're going to see is the tops are next to come off. And this is just another thing that you have to set aside to get to the side panels.
So the ones that are a C are the inside, and then the ones that are without the one edge are the outside edges?
Correct, yep. There's 2 of those, obviously, one on each end, and then all the rest of them go inside, and there's no special order. Either of these can go on either end, and any of these can go anywhere inside. There's no sequential order to it.
That's smart.
Okay, we're to the point where we'll grab a side panel and a corner panel, and you just start in the corner, and we're just going to make an L.
Okay.
And that'll stand it up, and then
So just like that?
you got, yep, just like that.
And these are all carriage bolts, so
Yes, they
seems
are.
pretty.
So on the corners, Paul, these are all powder coated. So from the outside, everything you see on the outside is a matching.
Okay.
And we just start by putting a bolt in the top and a bolt in the bottom.
And then obviously the hole is for the bottom.
Yeah, that's a good point. The single round hole goes on the bottom for your anchor.
I'll show that once I get over here. Which one do you want to do?
Put it right here.
So you can see all the bolts are accessible from the inside.
Because this is a 4x6, we're going to build it so that there's 4 panels on this side,
Okay.
6 panels going the other way. And again, just remember on the outside corners, you want to use your powder coated bolts so that it's aesthetically pleasing is the only reason. They're the same grade 8 bolts that we use for the entire shelter.
Yep.
Yep. People use them for, safes and different things.
So that's what he's talking about. The outside carriage bolts are powder coated, but they're still grade 8. Just looks good.
And now we've got our other corner on, so we'll just turn and start doing the long walls. Point that we integrate the roof panels now.
Okay.
This helps to tell you if you're out of square. You know it now. Like I said earlier, the one that has the one bend, it doesn't matter which one, they're identical. So you just grab one of them. We'll lift it up there. We just have a short ladder. These shelters are 7 foot tall. So
Let me ask you this: how much room do you need above
2 inches?
2 inches is all you need.
I'd say 86 inches would be minimum.
Okay.
Because these carriage bolts that we use
You have to be able to drop
are an
them.
inch long, and you've got to be able to, get your hand kind of slid back and drop these in.
Sure.
So 84 inches is the overall height of our shelter, but I would say 1.5 inches to 2 inches would be what you would sufficiently need to put it together. And you can see the kind of visually that the holes line up, or
Yeah.
as you said before, if you put, you want to be sure your circular hole is at the bottom. If you put it opposite, it'll still bolt together. But when you put
Right.
your roof panel on, you'll notice that you don't have your 2 holes up top. Yes.
Yep.
So. You can tell the outside of the frame because we have this trim on the outside.
Yep.
Again, you could put this in backwards, but you would notice it when you went to put the door together. So
then you got to use an extension to get.
that's right. We use a 6-inch extension. When you put the bolts in, like what Zane's doing now, we start them all by hand. That way you don't cross thread it.
Yep.
Also, if you drop a nut down in there, there's a hole in the bottom, but you have to take the frame off. We send along like 4 extra nuts, 4 extra bolts, so you have a few extra parts in case that would happen.
Yeah. Which you probably could get that out of there with a magnet.
You could, yeah.
So the door can really be put anywhere because it's just
Absolutely.
takes up 3 panels. So if we
Yes.
wanted it at the corner, we could have it at the corner.
Yep,
Just kind of go.
that's
at the
right.
end,
You could
kind
put
of
it on the
wherever you want.
4-foot end if you wanted to go in and have your shelter deeper when you open the door.
Sure.
People in a wheelchair, you can open the door and you have room to get yourself in there.
Further, yep.
And we have an ADA compliant door as well.
Okay, so these panels are 1 foot wide. The door is equal to 3 panels, so we can put this wherever we want. If we wanted it right at the corner, it could go at the corner. One thing to think about when you're installing is you can see the holes. Got the round holes at the bottom. Those are at the bottom for your concrete lags. And then you have the square holes up there for your carriage bolts.
It's kind of nice to note that if you do have a low clearance area, you take these roof panels, just like I did on that last one, and you lift it up just past and slide it on. And that way, because these flanges are 3 inches, otherwise you're gonna have 3 inches that you have to lift over top of.
Sure.
So, and you see all the ceiling, or all the roof panel bolts. We just drop the bolts down in for now, and then we put the nuts on later, because as we tighten them off, they sometimes want to vibrate and then they're falling off anyway. So
Sure.
other things that we've done that we've learned help too, Paul, is to put a bolt in each of these ribs as we're going along. That way it helps to keep the walls straight, because on some of the longer shelters, the walls can start walking around on you, and then you're prying and trying to get everything right.
Sure.
So. Our roof panels can be as long as 8 foot.
Okay.
The length you can do whatever you want, but
So you can have an 8-foot width, basically.
Correct. Yes. Yep. The smallest is 3.
I suppose if somebody ever wanted to, you could just have a wall and
You could do it. Yes. Yep. Yeah. So on the back side here, and it can happen anywhere, but in this particular area, we have the one of the holes that's it's not lining up right. There's
Sure.
a
So if your
difference in the
concrete's
floor.
not perfectly flat
Exactly.
or something like
Yep.
that.
Then you can just take this a punch or whatever you want, slide it in there, and then you just pry. And I don't know if you can see that, but that helps you to get these holes aligned.
Sure.
It's your time. A 4x6 shelter takes just shy of 300 bolts and nuts to complete.
And does your shelters come with all the required fasteners?
Yes, yep, all the required fasteners, the anchors, whatever it takes to complete this so you can use it. And then another little pro tip for putting these together is take that door now and wheel it in, because otherwise you can't fit it through, and you have to carry it in and tip sideways, and it's very laborious doing it that way. This
Yeah, this is crazy how fast this goes together.
Yeah, the closer it is to where you're setting it up, the faster, just for carrying sake.
You probably spend more time tightening bolts than you do anything else.
And then anchoring into the concrete, as you know.
Sure.
Okay, so let's wheel this door in there.
Okay.
We bought a dolly that you can take down steps very easily, which is what I'm using now. But when we first started doing this, we were using just an appliance dolly. Any, two-wheeled cart would work.
Sure.
And the whole thing now is just that it's inside. That saves you a ton of struggle later. Otherwise, you have to try to carry it sideways through that door.
All right, so you saw these guys wheel the door in from the end. That's a little trick. You can still get it through there if you need to, but it's going to take a little bit more effort because you have to kind of tip it.
So there's 2 different ways that we put this door in, and like I said, it's 300 pounds, so it's just heavy and awkward to move. What we're doing is these hinges are going to go, and they're going to have bolts that go through them on the back side of this door frame.
Yep.
Every door we do is a left in swing. So when you're talking about door placement, keep that in mind, that you don't put it clear to the right, and then you waste a lot of space when the door is being opened, because it opens inside.
And I'm assuming the purpose of it opening inside is so if something was to lodge against the shelter.
Yes, you're never trapped inside from debris as far as that goes. And because that trim I was talking about earlier that kind of helps you to know that what's the outside, that keeps this door from falling out. So you don't have to worry about the door losing control of the door and having it fall out of the shelter. It won't be able to do that. It's kind of a good peace of mind when you're wrestling it. So there you go. We've kind of guided it into place now. The whole goal here is to just get one bolt into the hinge, and then we say when we've done that, we've won, because then we can get the card out of the way and a little crowbar action, you'll be able to align the rest of them. That's another thing to remember is don't tighten any of the bolts in this hinges at all until you've got them all in. That way you can lift the door up and down and move it around a little bit. Can we wiggle this down and this way a little bit? There you go, now set that one. Or, I mean, yeah. Go up. Okay. Then you take this handle, and there's one threaded hole right on the back side here, on this hub. You're just going to thread this handle in, and that's the inside handle for you. Thread it in until it's nice and tight. And that's what runs the closing mechanism on this door. See, when you close it now, it throws all three of these latch pins simultaneously.
Sure.
And once it's closed, you have a safety cane here, and you drop it over the handle, and then we call it a safe room now. That way somebody from the outside trying to hurt you or whatever, they can't get in. Always put this on, even in a tornado situation.
This would be good if you have a lot of little kids and you just need a break.
There you go. I would not edit that out either. That's a true statement.
This is a mom shelter is what this is.
That's exactly right. On the door, on the top frame, there's 4 holes.
Yep.
The last 2 holes you can't get to because of the frame itself. So we have these 2 special bolts.
Okay.
Everything else in here is carriage bolts to put it together except these 2. It takes a 5/16 Allen, and I'll put it up here and then you can come and see it. But it just goes, one goes right there.
Yep.
5/16 Allen, and the other one goes on the far other side. The last finishing step is it comes with plugs. There's a plug that goes in each of these holes, so they're just a real simple plug, and they just pop right in. It's just a finishing thing. There's no structural integrity to them, obviously. The only ones that don't, there's 3 holes on the latch side that don't get a plug because it's where the latch pin goes. You'll know it if you try it; it'll fall in. So
I don't even know if that took us 35 minutes.
You're a great helper, Paul.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I didn't do a whole lot. For time's sake, we are not going to go and put all the rest of the bolts in. The rest of those bolts, I don't know, it'll probably take 20, 30 minutes to get them all in there.
And then to tighten them down.
Then tighten them, it'll take a while. So that's probably the longest, from my observation, probably tightening all the bolts is going to take the longest. So once you get it all tightened together, the next obvious thing to do is to secure it to the concrete.
Yes.
So a couple things there. How thick of concrete?
3.5 inches.
So 3.5 inches is what it's been tested to?
Yes.
Okay.
With a wedge anchor.
With a wedge
and
anchor.
And that's supplied with the shelter.
Okay, so we'll show you those, and then they have one. Actually, that's a shelter that they use, so that's already secured, so we'll show you that. All right, so this one has been bolted to the floor. So you can see each panel has a bolt. Got some lights that you can put in here, just some simple battery-operated LED lights. Just so you have some lights would be a good idea. You can see that all of these bolts are accessible from inside, so if you were to get trapped, you could literally disassemble this whole thing. Yep, I did. So let's talk about this little thing. So if somebody wanted to turn this into a gun safe, that's kind of an add-on.
That is. This digital lock is an add-on to it. This lock on the outside, and then we have one mounted on the inside, because for 10 seconds after you key the code, you can do whatever you want. After 10 seconds, it locks itself. And so if you're on the inside, then you would just type your code again from the inside.
But standard ones just come with the...
That's right.
The throw
Standard
latch.
is without.
Okay. All right, guys, that's gonna be a wrap on today's video. I have put a link in the description if you guys are interested in reaching out to Ironclad. Check that out. You'll be able to get in direct contact with them. Also, we appreciate you watching. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share us with your friends, and don't stop dreaming.